welcome back. As I said, it didn't take long and we received the official patch note. As I expected, it focuses mainly on Tristram Cathedral, so let's take a closer look at it. The patch will be released on September 20 and 21st, depending on your location.
Tristram Cathedral Dungeon and Main Quest. Reports from Wortham suggest the townsfolk are having peculiar dreams. Some have even disappeared during the night. Returning to Tristram Cathedral to investigate these disturbances will have you crossing cleavers with an old nemesis, the Butcher, along with confronting a malicious enemy, imbued with the power of Diablo himself. Your descent will be hindered by new, unsightly abominations, the Shardborn. These grotesque beings are the unfortunate result of the corrupted world stone. Shards penetrate the flesh of humans, reanimating the dead into lethal attackers, and slowly decay the living until they're a twisted amalgamation of flesh. Tread carefully when in their presence. The slightest exposure to worldstone shards will send them into a rabid craze. The Cult of Terror looks to unleash these nightmares upon Sanctuary, navigating treacherous locations, such as the manor where the Mad King lost himself and the cathedral where Diablo was once confined, will be paramount in keeping the burning hell's influence at bay. Sanctuary needs you, adventurer, to embark upon this journey into the bowels of Tristram Cathedral. You must have completed the Ancient's Cradle main quest line beginning with Fare You Well, and ending with Creation's Husk and reached Hell difficulty 3.
So we got a little lore about the new Tristram, and the fact that we won't be able to go there immediately without completing the storyline quest. The next thing actually shocked me. Everyone who is in my clan with me knows that I have been talking about it for a long time. I also talked about it in one of my videos. It was the introduction of League of Legends-like PvP mode. And do you know what? It's official, just look at this.
Alley of Blood is a new team-based, single-lane PvP activity changing how Shadow clans prove themselves in the Shadow War, and how they clash against Immortals for bonuses in the new Vigil of Blades. Component of Cycle of Strife, a variant of Alley of Blood, is also available to play during a new limited-time event. In Alley of Blood, teams will battle fiercely over hallowed ground, aiming to overpower the opposing team by demolishing their sentry towers, and ultimately destroying the base of their operations, their Crystal Heart. In cases where both teams are evenly matched, and neither Crystal Heart is destroyed, the winner is decided by the team with more remaining structures and overall team performance. Your team won't be in this fight alone. Massive Sacred Guardians seek to triumph over their adversary as well and will spawn to attack the enemy's Sacred Guardians, Sentry Tower, and Crystal Heart. These stone behemoths deal massive damage, so you'll want to clear a path for them. Deciding your role, specialist skills. Because there is only one lane to victory, teams will need to coordinate their efforts to outsmart their foes and specialize their fighting style. Before a match begins, players will pick one of the below specialist skills to add to an additional skill slot. Teams can't have more than 2 players per skills category, but those players can select the same sub-skill. These skills are unique to Alley of Blood and can only be used in this activity.
Due to the fact that classes in Immortal do not have their own specialization, developers were forced to add special skills to choose from only for this activity.
Focus, Anguish Brand. Mark one enemy player for 6 seconds. The marked enemy will drop one of their champion's marks for every 5% life they lose. When the mark expires, that enemy takes damage equal to 30% of the life lost while marked. Stone Hex bestows a curse upon a target enemy player, turning them to stone and making them vulnerable to attacks from friends or foes. The curse lifts after 6 seconds or if the target dies.
So focus should be chosen by characters focused on dealing damage.
Siege. Guardian's Call. Summon a single guardian that will move forward, attacking enemy sacred guardians and structures. The player must stay within proximity of the guardian, or it will stand still. Siege Weapon summons a turret at the player's location that prioritizes targeting enemy structures, dealing area of effect damage where it strikes. The turret self-destructs after 8 seconds.
So Siege is obviously going to be chosen to push the lane effectively.
Skirmish Dwindlemerc releases a fan-shaped blast of fog. Enemy players affected by the fog have their max life decreased by 20%, and their size and damage are decreased by 50%. This effect lasts for 6 seconds. Executioner's Glare fires a torrent of energy in a line that pierces across the map, deals damage to all enemies hit, and players with less than 10% life are killed instantly.
Everyone who has played League of Legends probably knows Locke's ultimate skill. This is more or less the same when it comes to the second skill. The first one looks like a strong debuff, so Skirmish should be used to debuff opponents to increase the damage they take, and then finish them off with the second skill.
Support Blessing of Momentum grant teammates immunity to loss of control and increase their attack speed for 4 seconds. Justice Shield generate a wall at the target location that absorbs projectiles that hit its front, lasts for 6 seconds.
Support in this case plays the role of a buffer and attack. In next part, we receive tips on how to play this mode. I think it is useful for people who do not know what MOBA games are about. If you are not interested, you can skip this part.
Sentry towers defend themselves and deal damage to guardians in their proximity first, then the player. Towers prioritize dealing damage to players who attack a player allied to the tower. While within the tower's proximity, should you die in Alley of Blood, you'll be automatically resurrected after a period. Resurrection time increases as the match progresses. Health potions are replaced with a bandage to self-heal. The bandage has a 60-second cooldown. Everyone starts the match with a 5-second boost to movement speed. As we mentioned previously, Alley of Blood can be played into styles, an 8v8 fashion in Shadow War, and a 4v4 fashion in the Alley of Blood limited time event.
In this part we learn that the new mode will replace the old Shadow Wars system.
Additionally, the structure of Shadow War is also changing. Clans are now divided across multiple groupings based upon their clan's classification, and the matches themselves are broken into 4 categories: Eminent, Exalted, Famed, and Proud. Clans can battle in anywhere between 3 to 12 matches and receive points for their win, based on the category of the match. In the event nobody from the opposing team shows up by the start of the match, you'll win by default. Vigil of Blades. Cast your blade into the fray to bring glory to your faction after Shadow War concludes, and before Rite of Exile. The most prominent Shadow clans will face off in an 8v8 battle against the Immortals in the Alley of Blood. Bring everything you've got and do not relent. The faction which wins 2 out of 3 matches will walk away with a bonus to their damage and health for fighting in the Rite of Exile. Vigil of Blades will only occur during the first 3 weeks of a new Immortal faction reign. We're also introducing 2 ways that anyone can be involved in Vigil of Blades, Challenge of the Immortal, and Rite of Exile, the prediction system and spectator mode. In a new Cycle of Strife tab within the faction menu, players can see the status of the conflict between Shadows and Immortals and cast their prediction for who will come out on top. Any player who casts a prediction will receive rewards, and those who predict correctly will get a sweet bonus reward.
If you are wondering how your equipment will work in this mode, it is worth reading this information.
Here are the rules of engagement. All characters will be set to level 60. The rank of all legendary gear and set gear will be set to 1. The rank for all legendary gems on your character will be set to 10. Bonuses from the following are disabled as well: Resonance, Cleanse and Warbands, Normal Gems and Charms, Reliquary bonuses, Stances, Paragon Specialization. Playing in the Alley of Blood event can net you some helpful rewards such as crafting materials, battle points, legendary items, and normal gems. You must be level 30 or higher to play the Alley of Blood event.
Additionally, we received 3 new legendary gems.
3 new legendary gems have joined the lineup. Experiment with these gems to discover new synergies, and make your characters build blaze like the flames of the burning hells. The below values for each gem reflect their power at rank 10. I have the unyielding 1-star gem. Continual damage done is increased by 16% and continued damage taken is reduced by 4%.
Definitely an option worth testing and considering for low spenders.
Viper's Bite 2-star gem. Damaging enemies poisons them with Viper's Venom, causing them to take 45% base damage plus 120 damage every second for 6 seconds. Enemies inflicted with Viper's Venom also have their attack speed reduced by 6%. Cannot occur on the same target more often than once every 20 seconds.
Something between Torment and Seeping Bile. An option worth considering.
Void Spark 5-star gem. Dealing damage conjures a Void Spark for 6 seconds while the Void Spark is active. Dealing damage has a 30% chance of unleashing lightning that chains to a maximum of 8 nearby enemies, dealing 110% base damage plus 446 to each enemy, and increasing your attack speed by 16%. Lightning strikes can only trigger once every 1 second. Conjuring a Void Spark can only occur once every 20 seconds.
This gem most closely resembles what was leaked. Before the patch was announced, the video is on the channel. We also know that the new Season 18 will start on September 28th. Another $1 million skin, and returning events. Now last but not least, feature updates.
Legendary gems can now be upgraded in smaller increments. Starting at rank 5, legendary gems receive smaller, incremental upgrades when combining each duplicate copy of the gem. Instead of requiring the full set to upgrade it to the next rank, this change does not lower the overall number of gems required to upgrade.
I guess that now we will be able to have a gem rank. For example, 5.5, an interesting solution.
Skill interruption. Abilities with short cast times like the Crusaders, Holy Banner, and Fist of the Heavens will no longer be interruptible. Random Dungeon Finder. Players now have a one-button click way to jump into a random dungeon's depths. While searching for a random dungeon, players may be grouped with another team at any time, which reduces the overall time spent matchmaking. Players who enter a dungeon using this feature will have an increased chance to receive a set item as a reward.
We will see how it will work. In the previous video, I quickly discussed what the problem with dungeons is. We'll also get a change to first kill of the day rewards and Rite of Exile.
Immortal clans can now strive to earn a blessed reign by successfully defending the crown for 7 weeks. During the first 3 weeks of a reign, the top 3 Shadow clans and the Immortal clans will battle each other in the new Vigil of Blades game mode to earn a bonus to damage and life. During the Rite of Exile in the remaining weeks of the reign, the faction that wins 2 of the 3 battles will gain plus 4% life and damage, which stacks up to a 12% bonus if they win all 3 weeks. Battleground idol changes. We've increased the speed for the idol during Phase 2 of Battleground and Rite of Exile. The more players on the idol up to 4 will increase the movement speed by up to 30%. Additionally, we reduced the time required to activate the idols at the beginning of Phase 2. Skills that provide the player with intargetable status will also no longer be able to push the idol. We will be working through legendary essences in the future to ensure consistency. But right now, the main offenders to fix are Sanguinate, Solemn Snare, Swarm of Bats, and Wraith Form, when attackers successfully push the idol to the end during phase 2. There was a short delay between that and successfully completing the phase. These two events now occur at the same time. This prevents situations where attackers could push the idol to the end, but would still lose the match because the doors hadn't opened yet, and more time hadn't been added to the clock.
As developers' note says, overall, the goal is to help increase the rate of wins for attackers, as they have fallen behind defenders again for total victories. The main area of improvement is centered around Phase 2 Battleground, as it's the most contested phase in the match. We also receive increased vault defense rewards and different system of immortal quests.
The Mortal Clan changes. Essentia is being removed from the game and will no longer be required as a resource for opening Kain's Vault. As a result, Shadows and Immortals will now fight over vault supplies in the raid and defend the vault. Activities. Additionally, adjustments have been made to how Kain's Ordeal interacts with Dedessa's Blessing, so there will still be some initial conflict between the Shadows and the Immortals for this bonus. Lastly, the damage bonuses received by Shadows when they increase their individual rank, and for Immortals when they increase their reign, have been changed to progress at more even rates. Between the factions, the damage bonuses have also been lowered, with a new maximum benefit of 16%. Previously 32.
So again, developers' note says, in our efforts to continue to make both sides of the cycle of strife appealing to all players, we evaluated several systems that interplay between the factions. We put a particular focus on improving the benefits of being an Immortal and making the progression of the Immortal and Shadows factions more evenly suited. But whether this will be the case, we will probably see in practice.
Immortal Cloak Upgrade. Players can now unlock two new cosmetics and several new cloak options as part of the long-term progression as an Immortal. Once a player has reached certain cumulative milestone weeks as an Immortal, they will unlock special rewards when their current reign ends. These cosmetics can be used by any class, regardless of current Immortal status. The most coveted cosmetic rewards will also require players to achieve the new Blessed Reign by defending their Immortal crown for all 7 weeks.
I think it's a good change, because cosmetic are important for many people, so at least to get it they will want to be Immortals. There are also changes for Shadows. Now you will be able to complete all quests in one day. Unfortunately, I don't see any changes for contracts. New Elder Rifts modifiers. It would be cool if it worked without crests. Bonus points for Warband members to catch up.
Players that are behind on the Warband's Ancestral Tableau will now receive bonus points to help them catch up to other players. Players that are just starting will receive up to a 5x bonus. That will decrease as they get closer to the limit. Additionally, players no longer need to be in a warband to participate in defense of Searinger and Purge the Depths. Both activities can now be accessed in Westmark through Valstis, the Warband Steward. Miscellaneous. The loadout slots in the armory have increased from 5 to 10. The capacity of gems in your inventory has increased from 40 to 80 rows. Players will now have a 30% damage reduction bonus in all Accursed Tower matches. Rewards chests in dungeon runs with 4 players will now automatically open. New servers will provide players with an experience bonus until they reach max level. This bonus begins 2 weeks after the server goes live.
And something I was talking about. Changes introduced for the Chinese client do not always mean changes introduced for us. This is perfect example. Thus we have reached the end. I tried to compress all these new things a bit, because there are really a lot of them. Everything that was most important was covered. I appreciate everyone supporting the channel, and as always, thanks for watching.